It doesn't matter how old you are, what your situation is, whether you're in a pit of despair, in addiction. I know I was at all these things, but I promise you, you can change everything. And I'm going to share a few tips on how you can do that. But first, please, if you've been helped at all by this channel, any of the videos, and you feel like you want to support it to move forward and perhaps reach and help a few more people, then please look in the link in the description, the Ko-fi link, and donate the price of a cup of coffee towards the channel. It'll just help me move things forward a bit and hopefully help the channel grow a bit and reach a few more people. Thank you so much for those who've already done that. It's much, much appreciated. So, not so long ago, I was all the things I said at the beginning of this video. I was in a pit of dark despair. I saw no way out. In this world we live in at the moment, people all over the place, and you're probably included in this, anyone watching this now, are in a state of fear, a state of constant anxiety and worry about the future, about the way things are going to be, about making ends meet and having enough money to pay for food and to heat the place that you live in, just to live and to support those who you love. Life is a constant struggle at the moment, and then obviously there's things behind all of that, like the war and the pandemic we've just had, and it's a very anxious and frightening time to live in at the moment. And obviously people are suffering and using external means to try and escape that reality. There's more and more people using chemicals, drugs, alcohol, all of this stuff, food, whatever it is, just to try and make themselves feel a little better and change it the way they feel. Depression and anxiety have never been at a higher rate. And if I'm painting a dark picture, you're fucking right I am, excuse my language there, but it's a scary, scary place to be at the moment. And it's very easy to fall into that pit of despair and not think you're able to get out. And I know men in particular, it's everybody, but men in particular are finding it extremely difficult because they don't open up and talk about these things. And male suicide rates are the highest they've ever been. And that's a very scary statistic. Not so long ago, as I said, I was in that category, I suppose. I was just curled up in a ball and wanting to die. And what this video is all about, and I'm not going to bleat on and on and on, I'm going to tell you a few mindset changes that I use that changed my life and that you can use as well. People talk about motivation, don't they, these days. I mean, we never used to have to be motivated to get out in the bed in the morning and enjoy life. That seems to be a new thing, to motivate, to be motivated. As your heart beats, every single beat of your heart, you have to remember, just become aware of your breath and your heart. Every single breath you take, every beat of your heart is a step nearer to your death. It's counting down towards your death. The Stoics used to say, memento mori, you remember death. And the reason they said that, this is not being morbid, and I'm not trying to depress anybody here, but you have to remember, because we take life for granted and we become very complacent and we stop living and we fall into this trap of trying to make ourselves feel better with external means, if you like, and trying to hide the way we feel. I know part of my problems around addiction were not knowing how to live life, not understanding how to live life, so that I was scared to feel any emotion, to feel, upset or down or anxious or sad or all of these, what I consider to be negative emotions. But feeling emotion is part of being alive, part of that heartbeat, part of that ticking of the clock. And life is shitty sometimes. and it hits you with some hard knocks. And the thing is, what I came to realize, because there's two ways you can go, isn't there? You can either quit and curl up in a ball and disintegrate and, give up on life, if you like. And then obviously, if you're lucky enough to have people who love you and care about you, the hurt that you're inflicting on them by doing that is intense, obviously. That's the first thing you have to wake up to. I forgot, when you're in addiction, you become extremely selfish and sometimes in depression and anxiety as well. You forget about the hurt you're causing, and your conscience disappears, your integrity disappears, your honesty disappears. All of these things, your self-respect, decency, all these things disappear, and all you're focused on is making yourself feel better as often and quickly as you can, and by whatever means you can. And that means, going to any lengths to feed your addictions or make yourself feel better. And, that's a downward path to just spiraling into death and despair. So you have to snap yourself out of that, and it's not easy. And I'm not suggesting for a minute it is. And the first thing I would say to you is, remember that heartbeat. Remember your life is ticking away and how precious that life is. And, life will hit you with some really hard knocks. And as old Sylvester Stallone says, it doesn't matter how hard, it doesn't matter how hard you can be hit. It's about how quickly you can get up and keep moving forward. And it'll keep hitting you, but you have to keep moving forward and keep getting stronger and keep fighting. And I promise you, if I can do that in the state that I was in, and I've met many people that were far worse than me that have dug themselves out of that shit. You can do it as well. I don't care how old you are, what your circumstances are. As I said at the beginning of the video, it doesn't matter. You've got to find that will within yourself, that heartbeat, that desire to make things better. Forget motivation. It's life or death, all of this. And you can either live life on life's terms and take the ups with the downs, but be conscious and present and there for your family and those that you love. Or you can slip down the plug hole, give up, curl up in a ball, give up and die. I always thought it was better to die on my feet than live on my knees. And believe me, I was living on my knees. And I know many people are living on their knees. No one's making anything small of all the situation you may be in regarding money, bills, all the rest of it. But if you sink into that pit of despair and self-pity and all the rest of it, you're no good to anybody. There's always a way out. If you start to work hard at it, things will start to come to you. It's inevitable. Things will start to get better, as they always do. And you can change your life for the better, I promise you. I know for me, the most bravest and the best thing I ever did was ask for help. And if you're in this situation, ask for help. And there's many groups that will help you. If you need to talk, if you're a man, Andy's Man Club in the UK. And, if you need to talk about stuff that's even darker and, need professional help, seek it. You'll find it somewhere. Even if it's going to the doctor and say, I'm not wanting to talk about this, but I'm feeling really low and I can't dig myself out of it. They'll understand. I hope they'll understand anyway. I know they're busy, but I hope they'll understand. You need to ask for help and support. For me, with my addictions, it was AA and peer groups. Peer groups are always the best because you can talk and they understand about where you're coming from. And then it all starts to move forward. And then you get off your ass and you start doing things that are right instead of making good choices, like good diet, good exercise every day, finding time for these things that are really important, finding time for those that you love, practicing gratitude every single morning, setting yourself small goals and keeping moving forward. And your life suddenly things start to come in for it, into it. Someone once said, the harder I work, the luckier I get. You know, it's tongue in cheek that, but it's fact. It is fact. The harder you work, the luckier you get. I'm afraid if you're going to dig yourself out of this mess that you're in, and for not 1 minute I'm talking about clinical depression here, which is another issue that you need treatment for. But if you're in this doldrum, if you can't move forward and you're stuck in addiction and anxiety and all these things, you can help yourself. You can dig yourself out. You're much stronger than you think. It's in there. It's in your heart. Feel that heartbeat. Feel those breaths. Think about how precious your life is and what you've got to lose if you let it all slip away. And believe me, then you'll find the strength to change. You'll start making good choices. But ask for help. That is what I would say. Anyway, I hope that's been helpful. Go to the Ko-fi link below and donate a coffee to the channel if you'd like to see it grow and support it a bit more. Thank you so much. Carpe diem. Seize the day today. Make today the day you change your life. Much love. Bye-bye.